Bump in the Night Society presents Exploring Your Society. Tonight we have ACG Paranormal with us. I am your host, Sean Bowman. We have my wife. What's your name?
Your
Jennifer.
wife. That's my name. Wife.
What does ACG stand for?
Always chasing ghosts.
Okay. I didn't know. Did you know what it meant, Jen?
No, I wondered too. But then, like, whenever I'd go to ask, I'd get distracted with something else because ADD runs wild in my head. But yeah, that's cool.
So this is Nat and Elliot. You guys have been married for how long?
5 years.
5 years. Been together for almost 10 now.
How'd you guys meet?
Do you know the band Guar?
Yeah.
We met at a Guar concert.
Oh, nice.
I think I did know that because I posted, I was at like backstage at a Guar concert with John Russo. I think you brought that up that you guys met at one. I remember that. See, it's things will click ever so often when you say something.
Yeah. So I saw him and I was just like, oh, he's pretty cute. So like, there was like this song and it was kind of like fate where it was like, if the song plays, I'm gonna make a move. The song played, so I made a move and I don't know, we've just kind of been hanging out ever since.
So was it a romantic Guar song?
No. Are there romantic Guar songs?
No, actually,
I don't think you would consider any Guar songs
like the complete opposite of romance.
It was like, did you two like run across like the open field and just embrace each other?
Oh, death. Just no. That was
We just had like all this fake blood squirting everywhere. It was a beautiful moment.
And I'm like, there's a lot of fluids that are being sprayed on people at those shows.
Yes, there is. But yeah, no, it was a good time. Like concerts are kind of like what really brought us together. The paranormal thing wasn't really a thing. I mean, I was about it, but he was like, no, like I don't really want to talk about that stuff. And I'm like, why not? You know, and later on I found out it's because he was scared.
and I see ghosts, which I don't like to do.
Elliot sees the ghosts. He sees them. I just kind of
Sometimes, not all the time.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
I mean, I've seen ghosts too. Like, there's been, I feel like it's special moments for me. You know, for the most part, it's definitely more audio. Like, pretty much everywhere we've gone, I think there has been some sort of ghost voice in my ear. You know, that I'm like, did you guys hear what that just said? And everybody's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, there was literally just the lady.
And then on like recordings, there's like full sentences right before she does it. Like there's always something right before she's like, like nobody else heard that.
98% of the time, like when I say that I hear something, I hear something. There's been maybe like that 2% where it was like maybe a bird or just nothing. But
that's part of debunking.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, EVPs, they're my favorite.
So how old were you guys when you had your first experience?
Cool. Okay, so my first experience that I remember in full detail would be when I was about 8 years old. This is like what kind of got me into the paranormal. So my old house was active, very active. And it seemed to like mess with me because I think it knew that I could see it or hear it, you know, like, but everybody else in the house, other than my stepfather, everybody thought he was going crazy other than me because he would like take his shotgun out and be like, did you hear that? There's people in the house, you know, like running around the house. And I'm just like, I heard it, but I don't think anybody else did, you know, so he would hear voices too, but my sister, I'm like, you remember hearing anything? She's like, no, you know, she's not about the ghost life, which is fine. You know, if you're not about it, that's cool. But when I was about 8 years old, I had to go to use the restroom, and I was fully awake. I was getting out of bed, and I put my foot like on the floor right when I was about to like, I was taking off the blankets, and right when I was about to get up, there's just this like lady that like came into my doorway, and my bed was like directly where the doorway was.
Mhm.
And we would keep like the light on at night because I was still freaked out by this house. And she just like, she was fully like detailed, like I could see her hair was like slicked back, like very sunken in face, but she was still like semi see-through, like I could see her, but at the same time it was like, right through her. And she looked at me, she looked back, she looked at me again, and then she just kept walking. And I just kind of like sat there for like a good half an hour or so, and I was just like, I still have to go to the bathroom. So I just ran downstairs, ran back upstairs, and I just like, hid under the covers. After that, I was known as the ghost girl in my school, and kind of ever, just stuck with me since.
Mhm.
All throughout high school, I would tell people about my ghost stories, and they're just like, okay. Actually, I think one time one of my friends actually photoshopped me in this picture with Patrick Swayze. I was like, oh, thank you. But, so I mean, before that I had experiences that I forgot about as like a young child. I do remember I used to see and this was from a videotape. I totally forgot about it until I watched like this home video, and during the video I was probably like 3 years old, and I start talking about my friend who lives in the alleyway, who I described him as the guy from Star Wars, not Darth Vader. Now, don't hate me if I don't know my Star Wars, but I think it was
The Emperor.
it was the guy that came through the little hologram, that guy. And he had like a hood up and everything.
Yeah.
And in the video I'm just
He's
like
Emperor Palpatine or something like that.
yeah, I
Okay,
think
yeah.
so. And I was like,
I
oh
think
yeah, the guy that kind of looks like the Star Wars guy. Yeah, he's my friend. He's in the alleyway. And I was watching this home video. I was like, oh my God. I used to see a guy, it was under the street lamp, and I totally forgot about that. He had like a hood up, and he would always stand under the street lamp in the alley.
Mm.
And like, to this day, I'm just like, wow. Like, if I didn't have that home video, I totally would have forgot about that. But I remember seeing that guy quite often as a kid in the alley. And like, I would wave to him and be like, hey, like, why are you standing back there? Like,
What do you wave back to you?
see him like in the rain too, and like he would always be in the same spot. And I think it maybe the way like the street lamp was like hitting him, I could see him better or something. I don't know, but
Okay.
like, so I had those experiences. And then with my house being active, after we moved out of that house, I actually started missing like the haunted feel and like the things moving by itself, and I'm like, I kind of want to go find that again. So I started doing paranormal investigating when I was about 15, 16 years old by myself. I did go to, I think, one or two places before that, but I was like not really serious about it. When I was in high school was kind of when I'd hop a train to the city, go roam around like the Drake Hotel and the Congress Hotel, and this is Chicago, and like all the old haunted Al Capone hangouts by myself. And then when I met him, I was still all about it. And every like trip that we took, East Coast, I'm like, we gotta stop at haunted places. And he's like, okay, fine, And then about 5 years ago is when Elliot kind of started getting more into it.
Well, I was doing your tech before that. Like I would do her tech, but like, so when I was a kid, I found a lot of I found a lot of notes and stuff from when I was a kid about the shadow man in my house. And I had forgotten about all that. So like I kind of tried to oppress a lot of it. So I used to hear a kid calling my name and trying to get me to play with them in the vents of our house. And I told my mom, and my mom told me, stop talking to that kid, tell them that you can't play. So I was like, okay, that was freaky. And then I had an invisible friend who was like, what era was it like? She's better
I've
with era
actually
things.
I've seen him too. Like, well, I've seen him in my dreams.
So I had an
and-
invisible friend that I used to play with in this house.
Like early 1900s. You know, he's got like, I want to say he's about 8 or 9. You know, he's got like the school boy kind of look to him, like the stockings. Like, and it's crazy because so the first time I spent the night in the house that Elliot would see like this kid, I I described it like I was like, yo,
It freaked me out because like so I knew that this kid, like when he was an invisible kid and I can remember him. I was like, oh yeah, this is my friend, my invisible friend, and I described him to my parents and stuff, and I got like notes about him and like notes about this shadow guy that walks up and down the stairs. He's like a taller, like shadow type, like farmery vibe type person.
yeah.
And then she comes over and she starts telling me about these people, and I'm like, no, that's not a thing. That doesn't happen. You don't
See, it was
know
meant to
about
be.
Yeah. Like, but the first night I had spent the night here, like I had a dream, like this kid came into my dream and he was like, hey, come here. And I'm like, oh, okay, where are we going? You know, and I go into what used to be his dad's room, and like in the dream, like I could see where his dad's bed was, and this kid just is like, I like to play in there, and in this room is where the attic door is. Well, I thought the attic door, there's a closet that's like out here, and I thought the attic was over there. And when I woke up, like I was just like, yo, so where's your attic? And he's just like, why? And I'm like, there's a kid that likes to play in there apparently, and this is what he looks like. And he was just like, you know, like, okay, like I used to see that, you know, like I used to see this kid. And I think with Elliot, like he just kind of like suppressed all those feelings, you know, and like tried to tell himself, because like I don't know, growing up like seeing ghosts and,
Yeah, you're not sure if it was real or not, maybe.
yeah, you're considered like the crazy person sometimes, which, you know, like with me, yeah, everybody thought I was like nuts, you know, until I started talking to people that are about the paranormal, and I'm like, yeah, there's other weirdos like me, which is nice, you know.
Yeah, well, it seems like a lot of people, you know, myself included, and people I've talked to, have always had something that happened when they were a kid that, you know, that sticks out to them. Like I've told the story numerous times on here, but I mean, I know Jen's seen like a goat creature or something before.
I was raised in a very evangelical Christian household, and my mother was like an exorcist of sorts, and we had people that were possessed, oppressed in my house, and people speaking in tongues. So things would be, you'd see dark shadows going out the door, so you'd see this stuff, and I used to laugh. I thought it was funny, you know, like I'd be in the hallway hiding. But then eventually when I was like 15, well, first off, my father had a hairy arm grab him by the throat in bed in my house that I grew up in. My brother had
a cop too, so he's not
him.
like somebody that just like believes in stuff either,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, he's not like that at all. But yeah, my brother had something come after him, and then when I was 15, I was on the phone with my boyfriend at the time, and I'm just, you know, it's like 4 in the morning, whatever, and I'm just like on the phone, and like I look up, and it looked like, and this sounds crazy, but it looked like a lamb with just like these crazy glowing eyes kind of just coming at me. So I started screaming, and I threw my blanket over my head. Just then my phone cut out, like somebody cut the cord or something like that. So I screamed. My mom, who's like, you know, and she comes in and does her thing. She's just like, you know, they're not gonna mess with her baby. And then I sat on the couch for the rest of the night and with the light on next to me. But yeah, so that was kind of like my upbringing. We were always, my parents believed in like there were demons, and you know what I mean, there were things there because they, you know, that's how I kind of came to be. But where I differ from them, and I'm getting my mom to see kind of a little bit more, and they're like in their 70s now, but they always think like it's a demon no matter what, it's a demon, and I'm like, nah, I don't really think so. So I'm starting, you know, my dad's still kind of set in his ways, but my mom's kind of, you know, a little bit coming over my way. But I haven't died. I don't know what's there. I don't know what's, I don't know if you hang out, a while. I don't know if it's, it's unfinished business, if it's residual. I don't know what it is. But
I don't know if it's aliens. Who knows?
That's
I'm
true.
talking something that's invisible. I don't know what it is. A lot of times, though, they have answers that people would give, and they seem to only certain places interact like a human would. So, like, I have some things that I'm like, okay. I actually had a friend ask me the other day. He said, "Can a ghost come through like a computer or through the TV?" And I'm like, so far from what I've seen, they can kind of only do things that we would kind of know how to do.
Yeah.
Like motion sensors, RF things. Like you'd think, okay, touch the antenna, that'll do something.
Move a cup, like
yeah. Make fun of us.
Make laugh.
I was just talking about that earlier. They do you'll get responses where they're like calling you names sometimes, and that is so funny to me.
A lot of vulgarity for sure. I know I've been called stuff, and other people have too.
I've been called things because my fingernails are painted, and there was a mean ghost at Hillview that was mean to her, mean to me, threatening her. I never yell at ghosts. This guy I had to yell at because he was threatening the other ghosts too. The other ghost would make him stop, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I gotta yell at this guy because like I don't ever. They're usually friendly. I usually have no problem with them.
Yeah,
especially in Hillview. Like, I think where were Ian's at in Hillview?
What's his name? Angelo's hallway.
Angelo.
Okay.
Angelo. So like we caught some pretty cool stuff like in that hallway, but Angelo was pretty much saying to us like he was like bullied.
Yeah, he said that this guy was bothering him basically.
Something like he stepped on me like through the spirit box.
Yeah.
And we were like, can you not talk?
Can you not do that? Like,
we had, so once Elliot started getting more like kind of like, aggressive with the bully spirit, because he was saying some nasty stuff to me. Like he was like, I'm gonna, in a PG version, he was like, I'm gonna get you. And I'm like, no, you're not. And he's like, yes, I will. And I'm like, oh, okay, like who are you? And then when Elliot started like kind of being like, okay, well, you can't mess with us and you can't do this, like you are not allowed to do this, like he was kind of putting his like foot down. We were getting like straight up like someone was hitting the wall like in some of the rooms. Like it was that Hillview is intense.
Hillview is cool.
There's that hallway where the nurses were raped. And Mikey in our group, it's crazy. One of our other lead investigator, he actually was tied. Wasn't he? Was it Sean? He was tied and like put down like on his, like he was tied, like
he was bound
behind his back, and then like left there for a little while. Because he I personally wouldn't do that, but
that's where the guy was. He was in there.
I felt like he was like going from the cafeteria.
What happened was we were with a bunch of people, and that's where I actually realized I can like sense things. Well, one of the places, but we walked past the cafeteria, and as we walked past, I pulled her aside. I'm like, "There's a guy in the corner of the cafeteria, and he's angry. I don't know why I know this. Like, I just know it. There's a guy standing there. He's angry. He wants to hurt us." We go past. And we weren't near anyone else. We were far enough away that the end of the line couldn't have hurt us. As we walked past, one of the sensitive ladies there got attacked by a male spirit.
She like dropped to the floor.
Yeah.
And she started crying. And I'm like, there is no way she heard you. Like, no way. Like, she was like a good, 30 feet
I made
us?
sure to whisper too, so no one could hear us.
And she was like, a guy just attacked me. She was like, and I'm like, what just happened? Like, I was like, that's crazy.
I was just like, see, look, I knew there was an angry guy in there. Like, I should have like, from now on, when I feel that, I'm gonna like tell them, hey, you're not allowed to hurt anyone. Like, don't bother anyone here. I'll be back. We can talk to you or whatever,
I feel like when we went back, like after all this, and we were up there by ourselves, like at this point when we were getting like this nasty language coming through, like I felt like he was like, oh, it's you. You could see me or like you sense me or whatever. I'm gonna follow you. So like it was all throughout like the second floor, pretty much on the like one half of the building.
But Angela's hallway and then the hallway that you were talking about.
It was
Okay.
like from the male's cafeteria area to like the hallway that, you know, that happened to like Angela's
Like
hallway.
right across from where the salon is, that cafeteria right there.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
That's the same area, Jen, that me and my daughter and my one friend that we went for our bachelor party, and I had a lot of activity in that room. Like, kept getting stuff. We put a chair in the middle there. We had a digital recorder on the chair there, and like my friend was very inexperienced, and he's like, "Oh, like you can follow us here and follow us there," and I'm like, "You can't follow us home though." But it was like it was following us around the building. Like I had a K2 meter and it kept following us, and I told it, I was like, "That's it. Like you can't follow us," and it stopped following us. Anytime we went back to that room, there was always something in that room.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was him because like
That place in general was really
Yeah.
cool. Because when we went up to the third floor too, they were so the tricksters up there, we would go to the little desk where all the golf balls are.
Mm.
And then in their room, a golf ball would like sound like it moved, like hit each other. We'd go in that room. At the desk, it would sound like a golf ball moved.
Yeah, they were messing.
So they
with
would
us.
like back and forth. So I finally left a camera at the desk. I'm like, okay, you want to play this? I'll put one here and one here. And then one moved like off to the side of the camera. Like,
There's a guy on the third floor, not Jimmy Snaps and I forget the other one, like the Lester. Is it Lester and Jimmy? We've been there probably about 5 or 6 times because it's so close. But down the one hallway, I think it was Sue Vesh that told me, or one of the people there, because I've gotten to know them. There's an old man. It's a Joe. I think it's Joe. But he was like,
I don't like that room, the one you're talking about.
Is this a
Feels dark in that
PG?
room.
Is this a PG podcast or can I talk freely?
No,
Okay, cool. Okay, so they said like he was like they had to put him up there because he was always like masturbating everywhere, like just being disgusting. So I was up there with one of our former teammates, and I was just like, "Hey, Joe." I'm like, "Were you back there masturbating?" Like I was just saying something, trying to get him going, and like on one of the EVPs, I can hear like a growling, grumble sound at me, like he was not happy. I mean, whatever, but yeah. But you know what? It's funny because the third floor is supposed to be like, I guess, you know, there were some violent patients and there's, you know, up there, but like the second floor creeps me out way more. Like,
when we were doing the tour, like the minute I stepped on the second floor, I was like, this floor, something is off. You know, like second floor definitely got to be. The basement was sad.
The basement was really sad.
Like I was very sad in the basement. And then the first floor I felt like was I felt like the most like energy. Like that's where like most like the, you know, movement.
By the nurse's desk, Bill that's in there. I mean, whenever I've gone around with Sue and Ken, because they're there all the time, like they had so much interaction from Bill that's down there. Like, I mean, so much interaction. And so like the last time we went, Sean was there and our friend Eric and Phil. Eric was there? It was Phil that time. Yeah,
no,
but like
I
kept like kind of blowing Sean and Phil off and going around with Ken and Sue because like they just get such a great response. I was like, I'm just gonna go with them and I'm gonna film and see you guys in a little bit. But yeah, I really I love the first floor, but the second floor, and I have Jeffrey. I say Jeffrey because I don't fully believe Jeffrey's a child. I just bad vibes about that. But I asked him what his favorite toy was or whatever it is. And it said green ball, which we have a video of that. But yeah, I don't have like, I don't know. A bad feeling about Jeffrey. I don't know what it is. I don't know if Sean, if you feel that way, or I don't know if you guys felt that way, but like, I don't know.
I don't think we really got to that part of the building. We
had
so much chaos on the second floor that we were up there like most of the time because.
But Jeffrey's on the other side of the second floor, right?
He's over by the.
Yeah,
doors.
that place is so crazy because it's like you think you're on the second floor, you are, but then like there's a whole nother.
Totally flipped. Yeah.
Yeah.
With Jeffrey, I think we were over there, but we were only over there for I want to say
something
10
about baseball.
Minutes. No, he liked Babe Ruth, and I have a quote on Babe Ruth, so I was trying to, you know, kind of
Yeah, we were trying
link the
to.
two. But I don't think we got any activity in his room, but we did as we were walking past. There's a room that has a rocking chair. The rocking chair was going back and forth.
Is that
So that was
that's Mary
Is that
Aiello?
Mary?
The
Mary
blind
Aiello.
lady. Yeah, we actually
Yeah.
last time we were there, my friend who was with us was telling her dirty jokes, and we had K2 keep like
It was
responding
like
to her.
spiking every time he told a joke because I'm like, you can't tell her jokes like this. And like as soon as like the punchline hit, it was like, and I'm like, okay, I guess she likes dirty jokes.
That's awesome. Yeah, the rocking chair was like going nuts, and then like as we were backing up, it's like she was rocking, and then it's just like she kind of like slowed down as we were like coming into our room, and then like it just kind of stopped, and he was like, oh, I really hope you got that on camera. I was like, if I did, it was only for a split second. We just were walking past. We spent most, I think, of that investigation in Angelo's hallway.
Yeah.
Oh, well, at one point I saw a full body apparition on the first floor. So I was
lady asked me what did I tell you? She
why
has
are
my
you
memory.
why are you people here
Yeah.
or something like that?
I heard an old lady come up to me and say, "Why are you people here?" And I'm like, well, "Who was that?" I was just standing there waiting for her, like down the hallway from the bathroom, and I'm like, "Who was that?" It sounded like it was right next to me.
Yeah, but after I saw like this, so it looked like I have a video of it, like, of course my camera like turns, but there's like a split second where you see like, it's like a blob, it manifests into like a half shadow figure, half person. So you see like these two dinky little legs that were super skinny, and then the rest, like the top of it is like a shadow figure. And it kind of looks like it's wearing a gown, which I thought was really weird. I forget who I sent it to, but it was someone from Hillview. It was one of the tour guides, because I pulled him over. I was like, hey, were like any of you down this hallway? Because when it happened, to me, this figure came towards me and then turned the corner, but it was like super fast. Like I had my camera facing this way, but I was still looking this way, and I just kind of saw like a person go down and like turn right away, like it was running down the hallway. And as we were walking like towards the hallway, I was like, I'm like, who just came down here? And I'm like, hello, hello, hello. No one's down there. And I'm like to Elle, I'm like, did you not see that person? And he's like, no, I didn't see anyone. And I checked all the rooms. And then so I decided to go back out, and I asked the people at the front, I'm like, was anyone down this hallway? Did you guys go down this hallway? They said no. Like I'm just like, well, I just saw something come towards me and then just like turn the corner, and I'm like, is there any like fire exits? Like nothing. Like, so like I didn't hear footsteps either, which was really weird. It was just kind of like something just came like this, and it's within like literally 2 seconds, like there and gone. And then like my camera sees it for a sec, I turn my camera, turn back, and it's gone. And
we definitely need to get back there at some point.
Yeah.
That place is cool.
Yeah,
You guys go out Hillview, let us know, because we're always going out there.
Yeah, we're actually supposed to I was talking to Sue because we went there to help out with their trick or treat thing, and we're just there for this or that, but we want to try to we've gone on the tour, we know so much about it, and we're like, well, if you need, like, we don't want to work there because we both have jobs and whatever, but we go to camp, we have like a camp.
It's like Hillview's
like Hillview's like what, 50 minutes away, so our camp's like kind of out by there. And so I was like, yeah, if it's summertime and you need people on a weekend, not every weekend, but like we're like, yeah, we can give some tours, we know it well enough to do that.
That's how we are with Indiana State. I don't know, have you guys been there?
Not yet, but we're supposed to be going there this year.
Yeah, Peggy Goodell, yeah,
she invited
awesome.
us to come out.
Yeah, she's like, I rented it, and if you want to come, you can come. And we're like, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a place that you do not want to miss. Like, if you have the opportunity to go to Indiana State, do it. Because, like, whew boy. Like,
we were doing tours there, and it's just,
there was activity during the tours. There was like, okay, so our last tour, when we were doing tours there,
that was fun.
It was a group of 4 teenagers, 2 boys, 2 girls. And the boys were like, they didn't want anything to do with it.
The
like,
girls weren't
the girls
scared at
were
all.
like, yeah, let's do it. And then at one point we got to the nurse's station, and we did like the lights out, where I turned off my flashlight, and we're just gonna sit and listen and see if like there's, if we can hear anything. And like maybe I want to say a good minute after sitting in like silence in the dark, I literally heard a moan like across from me, just going.
We all heard it.
Yeah, like oh, and I turned my flashlight on like right away, and I look at them. I was like, "You heard that, right?" And they're just like, "No, no, oh no!" And I'm like the guys were tweaking out. And then like later on, we decided to go like like I did the tour into the hospital, and once again I was like, "Okay, you guys want to do like lights out?" And like before we did lights out, the two boys saw a shadow figure down the hallway, and they're just like, we like freaking out, like, nope, we're done. And like the girls are like, no, let's do it. Yeah, like, and they were like, bro, did you just see the shadow figure? Like they were freaking out. But
Indiana's crazy. It's definitely the most active place I've ever been. It's like it gives Ireland a run for its money. Like,
yeah,
and Ireland was crazy. Like,
Ireland, it was like
all of Ireland, like, everywhere we went.
Like the grocery store, the local coffee shop was part of a castle. The old ancient castle. They
had a
turned into,
castle
like,
in their
coffee
mall.
shop. Like
There's just a castle in the mall.
just history everywhere. But like Indiana State is just like, I don't know. The disembodied voices there, especially in the nursing home. Like, so I've done solos in the nursing home, like where I'm like, you guys leave me, go to the farthest building you can. I'm gonna sit here and I'm just gonna listen, and you will hear conversations down every hallway.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty, and it goes as like a T. So if you just stay at the nurse's station and just listen, you're gonna hear some, there's a whistler. So there's someone who likes, if you like to whistle, like they'll whistle back. And this has happened to me almost every time I've gone there, where like I'll start whistling down the hallways and I'm like, and then maybe 5 minutes later, you'll hear like a, like down the hallway, and it's just like, okay, that's cool. So definitely whistle when you go to the nursing home. I don't want to tell you like too much.
Yeah, don't tell too much. They're gonna be going there.
Oh,
it's fun.
But
yeah.
like, I just want to fill you guys in like what you could do to kind of like kick up like some of the activity, like what the spirits like.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
by now we've been there 4 or 5 times, and like we've been trying different things. They love the spirit box. Bring a spirit box. Bring something with like.
So one thing that's really
electricity.
cool that we do, we do a thing we call the Lucid Technique. We have these Lucid headphones from Menards. They're like $30.
Save
They're
big
really
money.
cheap. But they're audio vocal frequency enhancing headphones. So I just throw those on and wander around usually.
Yeah.
And you can just hear like full conversations like across the building.
So what we did is like we hooked our SB7 to like an old guitar amp, and then put a noise gate on it. What I do is like I'll put my spirit box like at the nursing station, or I'll put it down the hallway, and I'll literally go down the hallway with like these Lucid headphones, and it's like you could hear full conversations like it was like it's standing next to you, because of the way like the sound vibrations are like hitting off the wall.
So the Lucid headphones have like 4 microphones in them, so it gives you like extra ears, so you can get different angles, and then it also like has a chip in it that enhances vocal frequencies.
Sometimes when you're standing next to the spirit box, I mean, you can still hear it, but you can definitely like the farther you're away from the spirit box with these headphones.
They're cool. They're really cool.
Like there was one, actually, I think it was the first time we went to Indiana State.
I'm not sponsored by them or anything, by the way. They're
good headphones. But the first time we went to Indiana State, like Elliot put them on with like the spirit box rolling, and he didn't tell us like what he was hearing. Well, we had another teammate, our girl Kat, put him on too, and then I was like, okay, now what are you hearing? Because Elliot has already, like, he told me what he was hearing, and I believe one other teammate, but he didn't tell the rest of us. And I mean, there was like 7 of us, and she was like, I'm hearing a guy and a girl, and they're conversating, having like a discussion whether or not they should talk to us. And
sorry,
that's
to turn on Do Not Disturb.
That's exactly what Elliot was saying, was like, he's like, that's what I heard. He said, I heard a guy and a girl talking, and they were like having a discussion, like we should talk to them. No, we shouldn't. Like, but they seem okay, you know. Like it
Yeah,
was
the
like
guy was telling
like
her
a
not
back
to
and
talk
forth
to us. It
thing.
sounded like a doctor and a nurse, possibly.
Mm.
Like I don't
Oh,
know,
wow.
but it sounded like the guy felt like he had more authority over her because he was like, we're not talking to them. You're not talking to them. Like it was. So I was just working one day in the house with these headphones, and I'm like, wait, I can hear you talking outside, like clear as day. I'm like, let's go
Yeah.
talk to ghosts with these.
Especially if like they're on a frequency, you know, like a lot of times with disembodied voices, I feel like they sound like radio voice, you know, like it's very like it sounds like it could be. And actually, the first time I heard a full sentence at my old house, I always described it as it sounded like a woman with a megaphone, but she was whispering. And since then, I'm like, when I hear a disembodied voice, I'm like, yep, it's that radio voice, you know, like it's like, and I feel like maybe with these headphones, it's like you can hear them on a frequency that we don't normally hear them. And if it's going through a radio, like a spirit box, and also you have like these speakers, like you got two like electronics that you're working with here that could be bringing their voices on a certain, you know, sound spectrum that we don't normally hear. So we usually try that technique almost like every time we go on an investigation. Actually, it's like one of my favorite techniques.
If I'm just wandering around, because I'm the tech, so like I wander around and fix the cameras. If they like something goes wrong, I'll be like, okay, let's go make sure all this is good. Or I'll run and get batteries. I'll just throw those on and walk around. Because like the only thing is like I gotta rig up a way for the audio from the headphone to go into a recorder. Because right now it's more of a personal experience.
Yeah.
Like if I can record it, that's my next goal is to set that up.
Like when we were at Eloise, we had some people try it for like the first time, and they were just like, so if you're already what is it, clairaudient, like it's like clairaudience, but like times 10, you know, because like you're hearing things like literally everywhere. And one of the girls that has never used this before, she was just like, I can hear a full conversation right now. Like she's like, it sounds like somebody just sneezed, and she's like, now they're making fun of me because I heard somebody sneeze, and now they're purposely like, should we sneeze? Like, and I'm like, wait, what? And I couldn't hear that, but she could hear it through the headphones. She's like, yeah, they're laughing at me because I said somebody sneezed. And like she's like, I'm hearing them laughing, I'm hearing like people like, and I'm just like, you know. And then I had another person that hasn't tried it, put him on, and he got freaked out because like he heard like, he's like, should I be in this room? And he heard like a guy just straight up say like, nope.
Yeah,
And he was like, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm getting on this one.
That can be really scary, though.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Especially because I've had it happen a few times now, especially when I put those headphones on and I hear a hey, like that's happened. I've heard a hey maybe 2 or 3 times at least.
Then you take them off and
I'm
start
just
to throw them on. I'm like, don't throw those.
I'm like, no, don't. I'm like, too close, you know. It was kind of cool though, but because I had one girl, I was down the hallway, I was probably about, I want to say like 50 feet away from the spirit box, and a girl was standing at the spirit box. She was asking questions, and then I was like taking note of like what I was hearing. So I was like, or I would shout it down the hallway. I was like, he just said I'm sorry. And like when I came back, she was like, everything you were saying, it was nuts, because she was like kind of hearing like the same thing, but I was so far away that like she's like, I don't know how you heard that from that distance, you know. Yeah. And so we like to kind of experience, like do different experiments with like the headphones, like sometimes
I just like experimenting with anything that I think they can use.
Yeah.
Anything. Yeah. I was thinking about getting some thermal paper, like to see if they can like touch it and see.
Well, Elliot came up with what did we decide to name her?
Cynthia.
Okay, so Cynthia is a plasma ball. It's a skull
plasma ball.
And nice. Then Elliot also wrapped like LED lights around it for like when it talks.
So everything on it is audio reactive. So as the spirits talk more into it, like I hooked this SB7 up to it, and as they talk more, it makes the plasma ball light up more, and then it makes the lights on it light up more.
Oh, well.
So this thing
As
looks
they
like
talk, they get more energy.
when voices like are coming through the spirit box, like hooked up to this thing, it looks like a rave. Like
Nice.
it's like
it's
the
pretty
more
fun.
and the more like they talk, the more of the rave happens. So if you're not getting like full on like hardcore clubbing experience, there's not much talking going on. But when the hardcore clubbing experience happens, it's a party.
And
Like all the
especially-
spirits are here.
I've noticed, especially if we like leave it somewhere and like go away from
Yeah,
it,
they're like, what
they'll
the
just start
hell is this
talking like
thing?
full, like back and forth on it, because it just starts going crazy once we walk away from it.
Mhm.
Well, I
Jen,
feel
you
like
can bring
you,
your REM pod and do your rave dance in there.
Yeah, there is a video of me with the REM pod rave. I'm just obnoxious everywhere I go.
You guys make great videos, and Bumpy is amazing.
Thanks, man.
that
Um,
bumpy.
He's just
That
like,
was-
his head is so big. And I'm like,
Sean, where did you find that originally?
On Amazon.
Yeah,
Thing
he
is,
was
they
like,
don't
"I'm
sell it anymore now. I have 2 of them though. I bought a backup just in case.
he was like, this is gonna be our mascot. I'm like, oh my god, like thinking like, oh my god, what is this? And then like people love it. So
We're actually getting
good job,
T-shirts
Sean.
made with Bumpy on it.
Nice.
heck yeah. Look at Cynthia. Like
We can make Cynthia our mascot.
Elliot like spray painted her like gold too. So now she's got some gold like butt.
All blinged out.
She's at the
Yeah,
bottom
you
of the
can go
stairs. I'll
grab
her.
Cynthia.
I'll be right back.
All right.
So when you guys use that, was it Lucid? Do you feel, because I know when we've done just, I don't know what they're called, the regular channeling session with just, like Sean did one at this place, the Tin Lizzie. And I know when I've done it, I mean, do you guys feel physically drained after that process? Or is it a draining? Because for us, it's draining when we do that,
No,
like
not
with
really.
the other method. Okay.
No, is that the Estes?
Estes, yeah.
Yeah. No. You know what? I've never actually tried that method as like I've been the person like saying what I hear, but
Shit's about to get weird. So
So this is
this is
this is she's got speakers in her back.
that's cool.
But yeah, look, I don't know if this
You wanna
is
show-
considered nudity. But yeah, this is Cynthia. Anyway, no, because I feel like with that method, like you really have to sit and like concentrate.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's more like a meditation type of thing.
Yeah. Which I mean, sometimes we have like without the spirit box where we literally just sit with like our eyes closed and we just listen. That I feel like is a little bit more draining, just because like you're really like trying to shut off like your other senses. But
I have fallen asleep doing that at like 6 a.m.
Elliot was sitting there like, I'm like, Elliot, yo, wake up.
I'm gonna be quiet and like listen to what's around me and like cut off my senses, and I fell asleep. And she's like, are you sleeping? And I'm like, yeah, yep. sleeping."
I'm notorious for that. It's like 3-4 in the morning. I'll be like, I'm fine. I'll just sit up against a wall. Like I'm supposed to be like trying to, I don't know, connect. And I'm just like asleep. I've been doing better though.
Well, I've been drinking and having more caffeine stuff, but it's
Yeah.
hard when we get to. So we're almost always. So we go the entire time. If we have it till
6
till 8 in the morning, I sleep a little bit because I have to drive. Like I do all the
I
driving,
don't.
but she doesn't sleep. Like she investigates.
I get
like,
weird. I
almost
get
the entire
really
time.
weird at about 3 in the morning, and I'm like, it's time to party. So like I'll actually, my thing is I like to turn on music. Actually, I did it with Bill at Hillview.
Yeah.
I saw that he liked Elvis, so I'm like, we're gonna put on some Elvis. So I did, and I'm sitting there. The minute like I start dancing and turning on Elvis, our flux, which is like the little motion sensor thing,
Mhm.
started going crazy. Like it was like boom boom boom, and I'm like, you like that, Mr. Bill? Bill Boots, I think his name is. And I'm like, you like that? And it was like, yes, and it was like, then we were getting answers through the spirit box, and I'm just like, okay, so that's kind of my thing, is like putting on music and then I'll actually start dancing. And
Yeah.
about 3 o'clock in the morning, I start dancing. I'm like, I'm just gonna put on a song or two, then I'll let you guys sleep. Like I'm just like, but sometimes I feel like when you bring in your energy to these places,
Yeah.
the spirits don't want like super serious people. Like I don't even want super serious people in my life,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
these people have already been through enough with like, like get over here type people, like, or
Mhm.
answer me, like they don't want that. So like, but if you have someone who is just like, hey guys, I'm a friend, you like music, I feel like music is something that we all connect to.
Yes.
It's something like we
Cynthia behind you.
okay. It's about to be a raid in here. Like I feel like no matter where you're from or what your background is, everybody connects through music.
Yeah.
So we'll switch up the music too. We're like, okay, we try to think of what era, people were here, what,
That's cool.
Yeah. We play music pretty often too. Like it's,
The chapel's really reactive at Hillview with music.
that's so yeah, the chapel at Hillview. He played because they, had funerals there and stuff. And
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I consider myself an empath. I definitely feel things all the time. And like he was playing Ave Maria, and then you're playing something else too, Amazing Grace.
Mm-hmm.
And I like just started like sobbing. Like I was sitting there and like I just felt like I was at a funeral of a loved one. Like
I heard someone cough right next to me too, on the other side of me.
And I just like it was the weirdest experience because the K2 meters are like flat, going up, and the REM pods being hit while this is all going on. And it was just like I get emotional in some places. I try not to cry places, I try to be tough, but like I was just like sobbing because it was just the feeling that I had sitting in there was just so much. Then with the music and everything, it was very emotional experience for me.
Sometimes it's overwhelmingly emotional.
I've gotten like that actually at Indiana State. Something that you say Amazing Grace, that's funny that you kind of say that, because like I actually, the last time I was at Indiana State, I tried something new. I actually tried singing. And like I'm sorry guys, but like maybe you can use my voice in some way and sing along with me. I don't know, but I actually started singing Amazing Grace, and like I was just like, when I was done singing that song and like everything was quiet, I was just like, God, this place is sad. Like it's
Indiana State is very sad.
I was just like the walls, like everything, like it really kind of like, I've been there, but like I felt like that moment was kind of really where I was just like, whoa, like going there, you're like, whoa, but during investigations, like I feel like for us, like especially if like we're doing a collab, I'm usually the one that puts it together. So I'm trying to like, put people in their places where they got to be for the night and like rotate people, yada, yada, yada. But I never really, like, I try to like take a good, especially like in the mornings, usually the next mornings when I have kind of like that moment of peace. But I haven't in the hospital. This was like the first time I did it in the hospital. I have in the nursing home, but like in the morning, but like I don't know, this was just like it really got to me, like, which I don't know, like same, like I try not to cry at places, but this place, Hillview, Hillview got to me too. I'm thinking back in the basement,
you were crying.
in the basement, I think we came in contact with a kid or something, because like I was like, are you a kid? And it said yes. And then with the flux, like that was actually the only place that we were getting like intelligent flux responses at Hillview. And I was just like, do you miss your mommy? And like it said yes. And I'm like, do you know where she is? And it said no. And I'm like, like
they were, what was it? Sean, do you remember Sue and Ken in the basement not George's area, but in that room with all the stuff, like all their belongings.
Yeah.
They had one of those Boo Bears, and there's an older Italian lady that was supposed to be there, and then there was a little girl, and they were getting, I can't remember their names, Sue would know, but like they were like there was a little girl there that was like responsive a lot, and she really liked that bear and everything like that. And then the older Italian lady, she wanted attention too, but like I guess that's somebody that they like will commonly talk to down there besides George. Everybody goes down there and they, George, but yeah, like that room, I guess with everybody's belongings and stuff, the energy in that room.
Well, that same down in the basement is when Tom and Jeanette saw that black mass and ended up leaving or whatever was down there.
Yeah, my friend Tom, he's sensitive to stuff, and he's a practicing Wiccan. And, he was like gun-ho, wanted to go on these, 2 times he went with us. Because we actually had our bachelorette party at Hillview before we got married. It was like a joint. So we had like, and trust me, I never want to ghost hunt with that many people again, especially that many people that aren't into it. But,
oh yeah.
The first time he went and left, he saw, and this is before he knew anything about Bill or anything like that. He walked past Bill's room and he saw a man sitting in a chair in like a robe, just watching him. Which
actually I have a picture of like a anomaly in that same room that he saw that at.
So he was like, I'm out. So then he came, he's like, I'm gonna try it again. We went in the basement, and him and one of our other friends, and they're not paranormal investigators, but they're open to it. But they saw some kind of dark mass. They did not want to be there. They're just like, we're just gonna, both leave because we'll walk out together, because they didn't want to walk out separately by themselves. And yeah, they had like a bad experience there with something. They did not want to be there. And that's honestly, the second time.
Like out of all like the places like in Hillview, like the second floor, and then that room with everybody, and I didn't even know what room we were going to. I thought it was like just because the only thing that I saw was like papers, like when we first walked in. So my first thought was like, oh, this was like a document, or like where our document room where they would like put the papers. But like I turned to Elliot and I was like, this room for some reason is the most sad. Like I was like, there's something in this room that's like the strongest, like very like emotional. And later on, like we found out that that's where they used to bring people's like belongings, and I was just like, that room, and like that room was the saddest for me, especially after we got those responses about this girl's mommy, or I don't know 100% if it was a little girl, but it was definitely a kid. Like you could definitely feel that it was like a child. Like at first, like she was kind of just playing around with the flux, and then I was like, okay, sweetie, like if you're here, yes, no, and I kind of showed her how to do it. And when we got those answers, I was like tearing up in the chair, and Ellie's just like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. But
it had also been like a long weekend, because we did so it was our anniversary, and we did 8 locations in 9 locations in 4 days, and we did what was it, 48 hours of investigating total, and like 20 hours of driving,
20 hours of driving,
and then like 10 hours of sleeping.
I think it was 15 hours of sleeping,
something like that. Like,
Jen bitches about going 5 hours away for one day.
I like sleep.
Yeah, Elliot usually is the one that sleeps a little bit longer than I do, just because like I'm kind of like, I'm only, who knows when I'm gonna be back here, I'm like, I gotta drive. He's gotta drive, so I'm like, let me have my moment with the ghosts, like. So normally I'm up, or I'll go to bed at 6 in the morning, and then I'm up again at like 7:30. Yeah, that's about it.
Well, I'll still sleep, but then I'll still make him drive, because I
stay up the whole night anyway. So
he's always like very, oh my God, where were we at? Madison, you were so sweaty, and you like came in and we were all hot.
Well, these places don't either have heat or air conditioning, so
and like but I was like, I care less if it's been hot or not, I'm going to sleep. But he like was still up, he took a shower, he did all this. Yeah. I was passed out. I was like, whatever, I'm sleeping.
Honestly, like depending on how like dirty the place is, if you know, like I might shower like when we get home too, because I'm like, I can't lay like I was laying in dirt.
Oh, we sleep in very questionable conditions. I have a little like USB portable fan that I take with us, so when it's hot.
Me
but,
too.
Like,
the fan, I just sit there and
a lot of these places I can't even have that on because it's just blowing whatever questionable dust is on the floor into my face.
Yeah. There's been times where like I have really bad like mold allergies, and like we'll sleep
It's
like
the wrong hobby for that.
like some of the like places, you know, like the overnighters, like especially like old asylums, like if we have it all night, like I'm sleeping there. So but the next morning my face is just like I can't like open my eyes. Like it's bad.
And I want to get a cot so that I can sleep places. Like I need some kind of cot or something. I can't just sleep on the floor. I'm getting too old for that. I wouldn't even be able to walk the next day. I'd just be like stiff.
When we went
That-
to Lake Shawnee or whatever, we had to sleep in a tent. That was rough. Especially because it was like August and there was bugs everywhere. It was really hot out. And
I had earplugs in. I don't normally wear earplugs, but like the other people that were with us were like still like talking, and I'm just like, shut up. I'm like, I just wanted to go to sleep, and they were just carrying on.
I always have earplugs and a sleep mask with me because like I have to sleep because I have to like if we go to Hillview, that's what 7 hours.
7 hour drive.
Yeah, it was like a 7 hour drive, and we just drive home. So like
Yeah.
I have to be able to sleep. So I put my earplugs in. I got my yoga mat, my sleeping bag, and a pillow. And like, usually by the time I'm going to sleep, I'm dead tired anyway because I just drove 7 hours there, investigated, and then I'm gonna drive 7 hours the next day.
Like I'm such a light sleeper, so like if I don't have like a bed, I'm like I'm probably not gonna sleep much. You know, with Elliot, like he sleeps like a vampire. Like he'll just like
yeah.
Oh, okay, like that looks really uncomfortable. Like so I'm just like, I'll just stay awake, maybe sleep in the car a little bit. But normally like when we sleep, it's like me and a sleeping bag on a yoga mat, and then I'm just like laying there, and I'm like, yep, can't sleep, get up, time to investigate some more, you know. Normally like so but in the morning I'm like, I gotta have my coffee. Like so I'll sit like, you know, and just have my coffee with the spirits, and I'm just like, you know, how's the morning? Like it's a nice day we're having. And just kind of sit there like I'm talking to like my grandma, you know.
So would your favorite place that you've been be Indiana, or is there somewhere else?
So probably my favorite in the States would be Indiana.
It's honestly, it's like a paranormal paradise. There's like 4 major buildings, which is like the mansion, and the mansion's completely separate. So like you could literally not even see, like if you had 20 people, you probably wouldn't see them like throughout the whole night. The mansion, admins, and then admins, the nursing home, which is like the T, and then the 5-story hospital.
They're
all connected.
Yeah, those are all connected. So like if it's storming, like when we go, it's always been storming, which is wonderful. But those buildings, you don't even have to leave the buildings to get to the other ones. But so across from the mansion, there's 2 nurses bungalows also.
Yeah, they just cleared those out, and then they're also clearing out the powerhouse. They've done a lot with that because that's where everybody's belongings would have went.
There's a dairy barn. Then
Yeah, the
there's
dairy barn's
a
across the
commercial
street.
building, which is like where the children's ward used to be.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
that's pretty active.
That place is active too. Like, so the commercial building was built, I believe, in 1990s.
And that has rooms that you can rent to sleep in.
Yeah,
like,
so
and bathrooms and stuff. But there's
it does have
definitely
beds.
something there.
So the last, there was 3 times, I think, out of the 4 times that we've been there, I heard a girl talking. I heard her last time. I heard her the time before.
Yeah, I heard her when
and
I was
heard the
going
first
to the
time.
bathroom. I thought you were yelling at me. So we were there, and I thought she was outside the bathroom trying to talk to me. I'm like, wait, I'm getting ready. Like, I can't hear you. You're mumbling out there.
Man.
Like, wait, like, just wait 2 minutes. I'm getting ready. Whatever you want, it can wait, unless it's important. And I'm like, I just keep hearing a woman talking right outside the bathroom. So I come out and I'm like, what do you want? And there was a guy that was like, because we were doing the tours at the time, one of the guards was sitting by the front door and he was just staring at me. He's like, who are you talking to? I'm like, the woman, where's my wife? My wife was like mumbling, what did she want? He's like, she's outside and there is no one else in here.
And I noticed there's a lot of activity like near the commercial building, like bathrooms. Like, so I actually had the sink been turned on by itself while I was there one time. Another time the stall was locked from like the inside. It was really like, I'm like, okay, like I don't know. It was
No
weird.
one would have done that.
And then like every time that we've gone there, like I'll start whipping out my devices in the building and just be like, hey, how's it going? Because like it is active. Like at night, like there's a certain room that we will rent out because like I'm like, we're gonna put our stuff in here, and you'll hear like I've heard, I think in that room twice now, a girl. And the last time or the 2 times before, getting them all mixed up at this point, but like there was a girl that was like investigating with us, and her and her guy that's on another paranormal team, we were doing a collab investigation. They went to admins, and I was like, okay, like see you later. And then I started like getting my stuff like out of the room or whatever I was doing. All of a sudden, like I'm kind of hearing her voice, because she kind of has like this like a higher pitched voice. I'm like, and at first I didn't think about it because I was just like getting my stuff together, and I'm like, wait a minute, she's supposed to be at admins, and then I come out in the hallway and I'm like, hello, are you here? And then I messaged them and I was just like, where are you? And they're like, at admins. Like,
So, like,
and I'm
so
like,
the way this place is, have you seen the latest episode, like Destination Fear at all?
Yeah, we just watched it. Actually,
You saw how big this place is.
It's
like,
yeah.
it's huge. You have to drive to get to most of like from the commercial building. So on Destination Fear, the commercial building was, so when they showed the 5-story building, it's on the opposite side of the property from that 5-story building, the commercial building.
So is it connected by tunnels, or how's it connected?
So that you have to drive to. There used to be tunnels under the entire property to everything. Some of the tunnels were sealed off.
Okay.
When
Lee
Allen Bryant had it, like when they closed it down, they sealed them off.
So the mansion is separate, like you can't get to any
that
of the
tunnel
buildings
is sealed. It used to have a tunnel from everything. Like there used to be a tunnel into the basement of the mansion at one point.
The commercial building you can't, but so like from the commercial building you probably want to drive up to the mansion, and then spend your time at the mansion, and then you're gonna want to drive either to admins. Like we like parking kind of at the nurses station. Like there is a entryway that goes to the cafeteria of the nursing home, and that's kind of like where we like to set up base, because it's a good
there's a good parking lot right outside there too. Cool.
Because I feel like the 5-story, if you park behind there, you don't really have anywhere to set up your stuff.
And it's so far. Like if you're in admins and you're trying to get to something, the first time we went, we set up our stuff in admins, and then when I was doing something at the 5-story, if like one of her batteries died,
run all the way back.
I'm by myself all the way down there. And
well, I don't know if you guys watched our YouTube video, but there's like
Hello?
system,
lots of stuff that was expensive, like things that I did not want people to take.
And we literally had and we were in the hospital, we literally had to go through the whole zigzag again just to get back to our stuff, and it like was freaking us out, because
if there was someone down there, they had the stuff and they were in a car by then. Because but there was no one in the building, so it's just lots and lots of talking of spirits.
And I guess like we're not like the only one like at this point, where I've talked to a few people who have been there, who they're like, oh yeah, we thought there was someone in the building too, and I'm just like, oh okay, so we're not the only ones. So that that's the like level of these disembodied voices is like where you think there's other people in the building. And
I would say one of my other favorite places though is like not in the US, but we went so when we were on our honeymoon, we were in Cashel, and
Ireland was really cool.
Ireland was crazy.
Yeah.
Like I would highly recommend if you ever get, you don't even have to choose anywhere like specific, just go anywhere in Ireland and it's gonna
Find a
be
castle. It's haunted.
Yeah.
like
That's a bucket list thing for sure. That just any of those castles in like Scotland, Ireland, England. I'm like, yeah, need to get there.
The history is so horrific. Like that time period was
Yeah, they
just
were
miserable
just
for
like,
everyone.
oh, okay, we don't agree, or oh, hey, we're coming to take your land, we're killing you and your
Or
whole
even like,
family.
oh, we have no entertainment. That guy's being beheaded. Let's all go watch that. Like, that's what he would do for fun.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy to think how like young America is, because like 1492, but then you got like castles over there from like the 1200s or something. Like.
Well, we went to
Bath, England. So the Roman baths there are actually older than like Jesus time. I believe they're 800 BC.
That's
so
crazy.
like they're old, and like I just can't believe like how well like some of the places in like England, it's like this thing has held up. Like the abbey that's across the street
the
from
Bath
there.
Abbey is really cool. There's a bunch of knights' graves in
It's
like
so cool.
like in the floor. The entire floor is all like graves.
Like if you peek your little eyeball in one of the cracks, you might see like crypt or something. But
Yeah.
but like that abbey actually survived. I think it was 2 fires, and it's just like and that was like 1200. Like it's just like what. But we we have houses that blow over with like one big gust of wind. It's just crazy like how well. And like streets like Oxford still had some of the
Oxford
original
was amazing
streets
too.
From the 1300s. It's just like how come we got so many potholes out here, but like you still have like these nice streets that are still holding up thousands of years later. So
Yeah.
it was super cool like going out there. I mean, I would like to go out there just to focus on like paranormal. Like, I mean, we did, because like, but just paranormal, like where it's like
with our modern like our equipment now.
Yeah. I think the only thing that we had when we went over there was like digital recorders and like the simple
I think
basic,
we had like an SD7 maybe. But...
little stuff. But like I would like to do full on, thermal cams and everything while we're over there.
You'll be able to get Cynthia through customs, or
bring Cynthia, yeah.
I'm gonna be strip searched if I try to bring that.
Maybe you can just buy her own plane ticket and her own seat and just set her in seatbelt.
She's a emotional support speaker. Just program encouragement words into it. It's okay. It's okay.
You got this. You go, girl.
So is there like a bucket list thing that you guys want to go to that you've never been to?
My bucket list is probably not achievable. I would like to go to Chernobyl.
Okay.
Because one thing that like our area, we live like near Archer Avenue, and this area is like insanely active. Like all the graveyards over here, like they will just sit and talk to you. And I think it's because there's a nuclear reactor buried right near a lot of these graveyards over in the woods. I really think my next buy is probably going to be a Geiger counter, but I want to find a good one. But I think radiation really like amps up spirits, because right near where that first nuclear reactor is buried, those graveyards are just crazy active. And there's a couple that I won't even go to. Well, one in particular, I won't take like any of our good equipment to, because every time we take something there, it messes up our SD cards. It fried 2 of our phones. I had to everything many times. So like when we go there, I'm like, okay, just take this cheap camera and like the broken SB7 that I can fix easily.
Yeah. I mean, my bucket list, I don't really, I'm trying to think, because I feel like there's places that I kind of had on the bucket list and I've either hit or I'm going to hit. We do have plans for the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs this spring, so I'm just like, that's one of the big ones I really have always wanted to go to.
I'd like to go to the Stanley.
Yeah, the Stanley, that.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
feel like
definitely.
there's hotel bucket list. Actually, I've never been to Waverly, so Waverly I feel like is one of those places where I just have to go at this point. Because it's just like, okay.
You know where I'd like to investigate? I'd like to investigate Old Vegas. It would be hard though, because there'd be so
cool.
much interference.
Yeah.
But if I could
Yeah.
find a way to properly do it, because I feel like casinos are gonna have a lot of interference is the main problem. But I feel like casinos have like a lot of suffering in them. So like and happiness. So it's like a mix of all the powerful emotions in one spot. So I figured Vegas would be pretty interesting, but like I said, it's hard to get the places that I'd like to investigate, like Chernobyl or Vegas. There's going to be so much interference, and you're not going to be able to like properly investigate them.
Yeah.
But they'd be really cool if I could like get a good.
We investigated at a bar, and it was still open. That Tin Lizzy that wasn't far from here, and it was ridiculous. I mean, the drunk people just wandering into where we were at. I mean, finally they left and like it was somewhat calm for a while, but it was like, oh my God, I was so annoyed.
Yeah.
And then
much.
they're taking us on a tour from like some place behind the bar, and everybody's like, what are you doing? We're all like like 7 of us walking through the back of the bar. It was, oh my God, it was ridiculous.
There was one guy when I climbed up on the roof, some drunk guy.
Yeah, they
That's not
the building's cool, but hot mess there.
Cold environment. That's very difficult. I don't think I would put up with that. I don't leave investigations, but I think I would probably leave a bar full of people. Like,
yeah, it was a huge, like, what was it from the structure was from the 1700s, but I think the actual bar was built 18 something. I mean, it was a cool building.
The basement area I think is from the 1700s still, because the basement's like real old fashioned.
It had like 4 or 5 levels or something to this place, but it was like,
I feel like a bar you would have to investigate like early during the day, like before they open when no one's going to be there.
Yeah.
Well, there's like a day, like it's a restaurant too. So there's a day where I think the restaurant's closed, and then there's a separate day where the bar's actually closed, but it's like during the weekday. So it's kind of hard to get out there during a weekday.
That's always hard.
I
Dracula's Castle would be cool.
I was just thinking like something like a castle. Like I would really want like a full castle. And I couldn't really pick like which one, because honestly, if anybody offered me like, hey, you want to go investigate a castle, I would pick literally any castle. I love castles. Like we drove up to Canada just to go see this Castle Loma, and I'm like,
okay. I would love to investigate Castle Loma.
And that one's
Castle
actually
cool.
That one is haunted. The owner is supposedly haunted, and I think his wife, and then some other spirit.
Oh, do you know what House on the Rock is? It's a thing in Wisconsin. It's like
I have heard of that. I've heard of that place.
Haunted.
I don't know if it's haunted, but there's a lot of antiques in there. So like,
okay.
I don't know, but that place would be cool to investigate.
It's
too,
a very trippy experience.
It's like this crazy rich guy's collection of everything. He has a collection of everything you can think of.
The dude had like these people build a life-size whale.
He has
and a squid
medieval
fighting each
armor.
Yeah.
Medieval collection, which would be cool to investigate.
Medieval armor. He's got a clown room, which I'm just like, no.
One place that we went that we didn't get to investigate was Tower of London. Tower of London would be really cool to investigate also.
That would be sweet. But like, once again, it's like,
there's no way they're going to shut that down for me to investigate it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll write to the Queen.
I wanted to go to that, but that's closed right now, that Cecil Hotel, and like just see what's going on there. There's like a lot of hotels. What's that one? The guy from the Sex Pistols.
The Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Is that New York City? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, that would be cool to go there
and
investigate that.
Nancy.
What happened?
Nancy.
Yes.
Sid and Nancy.
Yes.
Sid and Nancy. Yes. Yeah.
That place I heard is very haunted too.
Yes.
I feel like any hotel that was like a residential hotel has had bad things happen there.
So my sister actually just stayed like a block away from there. She actually, I think, was supposed to stay at the Chelsea, and then she was like, "Oh, it's haunted. I'm going to stay." And I'm just like, "No, stay at the Chelsea." Like, you know how many awesome like musicians have stayed at the Chelsea? Like, there has so much history to it. Like,
And I was Googling like what room or what's the room number now, and some double room that like she was killed in that bathroom, and I'm like, oh yeah, and it wasn't even that expensive, and I'm like,
I believe it's 100 or 101.
it's something like that.
Yeah, I think it's one of those rooms.
The room, yeah.
100 or 102 it might be. In the
There's
100s.
so much. I love New York City, and one of my best friends lives there, but there's so many places there that I'm like, I need to like figure out where I can go there, you know, where they will allow you to go in, because there's so many. It's just getting like access to these places.
Speaking of New York, no, not New York, East Coast. Have you guys? It's Vermont. Have you guys done Wilson Castle yet?
No, but I want to. It's so beautiful.
I feel like that's up there on my bucket list. I would say that's probably one of the ones. It's a castle,
cool.
so
yeah.
Yeah, I think being in the States, castle, haunted.
That Loveland Castle by Cincinnati that we were at.
Yeah.
Such a pain in the ass to get like, okay, so it's all ran by these knights. I forget what they're called. They have some official name, but they're really cool in person, but like they're horrible. There's horrible reviews about the place. They'll double book or they just won't respond.
Yeah,
so,
we've had other people ask like, how did you get in there? Because they've had so many trouble trying to get into that place.
So
What's that?
Did you see the Loveland Frogman?
No.
But we had poltergeist activity there.
You don't know about the cryptid?
No.
There's
No.
A frog that has a sparkler. There's like a cryptid in Loveland.
He's supposed to be like, you know, yay big and
like human size.
Half a human size cryptid that lived in the
cop shot at him, didn't they?
Yeah,
or something like that.
Maybe that's what the dungeon was for. They have a dungeon in the basement of that
That's
place.
like, yeah. We had poltergeist activity there, which we haven't released yet because we're going to be doing like a documentary on it, but it was crazy. Like
I was during one of my channeling things.
Yeah, because we walked in there and we were not expecting much because we were all so annoyed. We drove 5 hours. We're like, God, I hope we can get in. So we went the next day.
I told Jen, I was like, you have to talk to them because like I was in such a bad mood because they kept giving me a runaround with stuff.
So there was like this old guy. So I was just like, okay, I'm just like, hi, like all nice and stuff. And like, they were nice and it all worked out. And, you know, but yeah, I mean, there was stuff that I didn't think like a lot. I didn't expect much. And, you know, when we had something happen there, that was crazy. And I mean, it's probably one of the coolest experiences I've had.
AJ had a giant spider crawl on him too. He thought it was something paranormal. And then when he went back to look at the footage, there's this giant spider crawling up his arm.
we have this lady, Karma, from England, and she's actually friends with Phil in our group, and we've become friends with her. And she's pretty spot on with her. I mean, she's a psychic medium, and she's pretty spot on. So it's cool because at like 2-3 in the morning when she's getting up for the day, she jumps on when we do lives, and she'll like tell us like, okay, this is there, you know, oh, there's a person next to you or whatever. So when we were at Loveland, whatever, because the castle's not that old. I forget when it was built. Was it early 1900s or what was it? Something like that. It's not that old, but the grounds, like stuff happened on the grounds. And there was apparently a like probably 18-year-old girl that was either like murdered or raped or something. And she was really focused on Sean. Like because Sean was the big guy in the group. You know what I mean? She was like, I want to be with him. And, you know, Carmen was telling us all this stuff. And, but then she's like, there's men, they don't like women. So me being me, I'm talking shit out in the garden. And I'm just like, I wish you would, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like I'm, you know, so we get inside after the poltergeist activity happens and we're kind of just like closing out for the night, and we were on live, and she's on there, and she's like, oh yeah, she wants, whatever, I forget what her name was, but she's really focused on him. She's like, her uncle, or the uncle that raped her, or whatever it was by me. So I'm like, great. So I had to like take authority during that situation to be like, get away from me. Like, you do not have permission to be near me. So eventually he went away. But yeah, I was like, great. I'm going to get like, I could feel like it felt when something was by me, it felt like something was like tingling in my neck. Like I was just like, I'm like, this is what I get for talking crap outside. I'm always.
Well, that's like also during the channeling session, we weren't live, and I mentioned rape during that, and Karma said something about rape, and she didn't know that, so that's kind of weird. Same
with the dog. Like there was dogs barking or something, and I swear, like I see animals, like I see like little things zipping by me, and I always like. There's a big joke at the Bel Air house. I smelled cat pee in the basement, and then like I thought there was a cat with me, and then we found out that there was a cat that they tortured and killed in that basement. But like but I always see little things zipping by me, so I'm like, okay, I guess I just see spirits of animals, and so I heard this dog barking, but other people heard it too. But Karma knew nothing about that. She gets on later. She's like, to me, she's like, oh, you have a dog following you. I was like, all right, well, that's cool. I mean, that can come home with me. I don't care, as long as it's not like Cujo. But yeah, that was another cool thing. But a lot of the stuff she does, it's just like, it's spot on. Because like I'm a little bit hesitant at times to believe people. And, because I don't buy everything everybody sells. But like, she's just, I'm not saying it's 100%, but it's pretty accurate. Like so it's really cool to have her, jump on 3 a.m, like kind of just like kind of confirm what we've already been like the answers we've been getting all night and stuff like that. So I think she's supposed to come to America. Maybe she might even come to Crescent in March, because she's saying something about coming to America in March, which would be really cool. But yeah, I mean, I've never met her in person, but I love her. She's great.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I've been being more open about everything because like this stuff's weird. Like I used to like not believe anything. But like over the past year, since we've been more into the community, like tarot cards are weird. Like they're really weird. Like I mean, some of the things that have been happening with all the people will say things, and we have friends that are psychics, and like they tell us things about like they're friends, but they're people that we don't like tell about our daily lives, and they'll say things just out of nowhere warning us about something that there's no way they knew about, and we had been talking about like being worried about stuff. It's just there's so much weird stuff in the paranormal community.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Like I've always been like more open-minded than Elliot. Like I'm always like, and I'm trying to get him kind of more.
At this point, I've given up on being a skeptic. Like, there's no point in it, because like the stuff's all like, I'll debunk things, but like this stuff's weird. There's no explaining most of the stuff that we deal with. Like, and I always tell people, like, I'm like, sometimes, like with the skeptics, I'm just like, sometimes you just gotta be there. Like I understand why people don't necessarily 100% always believe, or do have like that skeptic side, or 100% skeptic. I understand, like, but like I'm just like, just come with, like come with, experience the experience for yourself. Like there's some stuff that's just like, we've brought people that haven't believed. There's people that I've talked to, like with Indiana State, they weren't a believer to begin with, but then, they've either been like helping out with tours, or they've been cleaning up the place, and now they're like, yeah, I'm kind of starting to believe a little bit more, like, because there's been weird stuff happening, so I just feel like people kind of need that experience to really, be like, okay, maybe I'm wrong, Well, the paranormal is a personal experience. It really is.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like a lot of us, like, we try to get everything on camera, we try to get it on tape, and we put it out there, but it's still like I love our videos and stuff, but like it's completely different when you're in person.
Oh,
It's just because you can listen to a recording of something, but your brain's like, okay, yeah, maybe that's probably fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can confirm it. But when you're standing there and there's a little girl talking next to you and you're by yourself, it's
Yeah.
great. It's
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah. It's nice to like, it's cool to have people believe you, but at the end of the day, it's like, if you don't believe us, then don't believe us, because we were there, we know what happened, and it is what it is. Like,
Honestly, like, that's how we feel, is like we're not really like, I get more excited to show people my evidence. Like, you know, I'm like, check this out, you know, like, but I'm not like they have to believe in it, because like once again, I feel like it's a lot of it is being there, you know, like, and that's why with like debunking, unless it's obviously like, you know, someone pulling a string, I don't really necessarily like, I'll hint things like, hey, did you check this? You know, or like, but I don't like sitting there and necessarily like debunking people's stuff, because like I wasn't there, you know, like.
And we've had people like I've had people show me things and they're like, look, my uncle's like coming to me and like communicating. And it's like, if you think that's your uncle, or to you, that's your uncle communicating with you, who am I to say that it's not? Like if it's if it's like something that looks like it might be a speck of dust, why am I gonna say that to you? Like, no, I'm not gonna crush your feelings that like you had experience. This experience is real to you,
And, you
and
know,
that's what matters.
Like stuff like that too, it's like, are they making money off of it, or
Yeah, that's different. If they're exploiting like a speck of dust, then it's like, okay, you're making us all look silly.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
like you're like, if it's a personal experience, let the person have like, unless they're like, I'm scared because this is in my house, and it's like, okay, that's rain on your camera. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Unless people like are like really reaching out there, like, hey, can you guys try to help me like figure out what this is? But if like I have somebody, you know, like if I bring up ghosts and like somebody shows me, you know, a picture, and like my first thought is like, it could be this, or
Or
this.
pareidolia, yeah.
But yeah, once again, like Elliot said, like
a lot of
they
pareidolia.
think it's like it could possibly, oh, my best friend just died. I think maybe, like, I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, that's just a reflection.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people in the field that want to just crush people's dreams, you know what I mean, or their like thoughts or whatever. And you know, whether you have 2 months of experience or 10 years, like just let people do what they want to do. Like you said, if they're not, as long as they're not exploiting something or someone, you know, I don't know. I don't get the negativity, but whatever. The only person I'm negative about is Zach Bagans.
Hey, he's rich. He's
a rich man.
It's not gonna hurt him if we're negative about him.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
we're negative about him, he probably doesn't care.
He probably doesn't
He's
even
probably
know.
okay with
He'll
that.
never hear it. He'll never find out.
I always tell Jen if we ever become famous, I'm gonna go ghost hunt with him and she can stay at home.
Yeah, well, you know, that's
She's
fine.
always hating on him. I like Zach Bagans.
I don't like that I don't know. It's just overly dramatic. It's just very dramatic.
I mean, he's entertaining.
One thing I feel about Zach Bagans is I feel like a lot of the community wouldn't be here
Exactly.
without him. Like I
To be
know
honest.
a lot of people like to rag on him and stuff, and I you know, it's TV. It is like it's TV at the end of the day. But I feel like he has done a lot for making paranormal widely socially acceptable thing.
You know, like,
Yeah, it's definitely more mainstream because of him.
And Jen wants to go to his museum too, so she's a hypocrite. So.
I do. I want to see his stuff. I like Vegas. I want to see all his stuff. I don't want to touch it. Like, I'm not going to go open up some Dybbuk box or something like that, but I would like to see it.
Vegas is really cool. I want to go to Area 15, which is like a big art exhibit thing. It's really
okay.
weird.
And it's like out there, like it's like where like you don't even need to do drugs and you feel like you're on drugs. Just
Sounds like some of the museums in Pittsburgh that we have.
That's the Andy Warhol Museum.
Or the mattress factory is real
You know,
weird
when I
like
go,
that, too.
I love the mattress factory. When I go to the Andy Warhol Museum, though, I'm like, I'm not cool enough to be here. Like I went to a thrift store yesterday in one of the like more like hip areas of Pittsburgh, and my one client that has special needs, but she's very high functioning. She like goes in and she's all talking to them, and I'm just like, I am not cool enough to be in this place right now. I am just getting like really old, and I'm not cool.
You
But
guys,
yeah.
don't you guys have a death museum too? Or like a science, like something anatomy in Pittsburgh?
No,
Pittsburgh
Philadelphia
had
has
an
the
exhibit.
Philadelphia
the,
has the Muter Museum or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Muter
Which is-
Museum in Philly is really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think next time we're in Pennsylvania, we're gonna try
We just
to-
got a torture museum downtown Chicago, like
Okay.
right in like the Loop, which is like the touristy area, like the rich touristy area.
Mhm.
There's like a torture museum, which is
Come on,
blew my
honey.
mind that it's open there.
Let's go to the torture museum.
I'm sure you guys have all sorts of like mafia stuff there too, right?
So like the thing with Chicago is Chicago's got a lot of great locations, but it's such a busy city and like it's really not the greatest, like safest city.
Let me see. Oh, the phone died. Oh, their phone died. All right. Well, we will call it a day then.
Thanks for being on, guys.
Thank you. Well, Sean, everybody needs a little what?
Bump in the night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bump in the night. Did you hear a bump?